Hallo, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Khush Amdeed. Ji ayanu. Goedemorgen.
Bukhair agile, ni hao, chirushume, washmale, ohai, genzaimis, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifahal, halishama chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabiab. And a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very ecstatic, the very energetic Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hello Shiza, how are you today?
I am, like you very rightly mentioned, so super energetic early in the morning because I had my coffee. Thank you so much for asking. Jummah Mubarak, everyone. Please remember Shahzad, me and my entire team in your prayers. How are you, Shahzad?
Well, I believe that I'm great, and as a matter of fact, that the topic we've chosen to express our thoughts upon today, I believe that I have a lot to contribute to that as well, and it's just because of the fact that I've been through that process myself. And I believe that the show today, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be one of its kind, and it's going to be very helpful for people who actually have a few ideas in their head to go about. What happens usually is that we tend to fail, ladies and gentlemen, and we just do not tend to fail. We think that we are going to fail before even implementing the idea we have had in our own heads.
Absolutely.
What do you have to say about that?
No, I agree with that, Shahzad. And I think more than that, there's a fear of failing. I mean, you'll never find out until you try, right?
Yep.
And one more thing. I'm not going to give away what we're talking about, but definitely going to direct it towards that. But Shahzad, more usual than often, there are decisions in our lives that we take due to pressure sometimes. You know, we're forced to be into that situation sometimes. Sometimes we choose degrees that we don't want to study. Sometimes we choose, let's say, businesses or whatnot, even jobs and whatnot. But I feel like no matter what the situation is going to be, after that, you should always opt for something you're passionate about. Only then it's going to bloom. I mean, just a very small example. Blogging is in these days. There are hundreds of thousands of blogs on Instagram or Facebook, whatnot. But only the ones that have the passion of giving out content are the ones flourishing. You know, this was just a small example. So I feel like if you're going to put your all to it without the fear of winning or losing or whatnot, you're definitely going to get what you need.
Thank you very much for saying that, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, today we've actually been joined by people who actually are going to represent, a few of them are going to represent the chunk of our youngsters who are actually working towards having their own businesses and being entrepreneurs. And then we've actually got people and representatives from National Incubation Center as well. So that we can actually ask them that how they have actually helped other people to come
realize
to a point
their
where they can actually fulfill their dreams. And just to start with that, I think a brief background would be that whenever we talk about doing a business, I believe that usually most of the times the problems we encounter is the first one is the capital anyways. And these days, I mean, as of myself, when I said that I can contribute to it a lot, was that when I initiated with the process of doing my own business, so the first thing which I got to know from my father, because yes, you know, the first things first, you're actually going to go to your father and you're going to ask for money. But my father, being of a very different kind, he said that, you know, I've done it all by myself, so why don't you go and you do it yourself too as well. So don't ask me for money, which was quite a
shock in the beginning.
It was not just a shock, and to myself and to the extent I could think about it, I thought that, you know, okay, I think that it's done and I couldn't be able to, or I won't be able to do any business. So eventually what I realized, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the kind of process which everybody is going through these days as well, where parents are actually telling them, oh, you know, in our days we used to do it without money, this is how you do business and whatnot. I think that the dynamics of the market have changed, and we definitely need people to jump in as well. Now, for all of those parents who are of this thought, let me just tell you one thing. Now, why do you think that these incubation centers exist? It's because of the fact that you're actually failing to sponsor or finance your own kid as well. And it's because of the fact that you really do not have that knowledge, which is actually going to let you know that the idea is genuine, whether is it going to work or not. So I think that right now, I'm not going to take a longer period of time just to let you know that what are the difficulties people are facing. We have a lot of amazing people over here in the studios who are going to share their stories of their startups. Then we have been joined by mentors who are helping them, who are telling them that, you know, it's not too late. You can still carry on and you can do great work as well. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, on the previous weekend, which was last Friday, from Friday till Sunday, there was this amazing thing which was known as Women Creating Technology type of conference. We will definitely get the name correct as well if this is not correct. But I believe that the message is out there as well. So it was in collaboration with the National Incubation Center, and for all of those people who have these brilliant ideas, there were 60 entries. And yeah, 3 people among them are winners. They're going to travel to Singapore, get chances to network, and a lot many more things as well, which we as when we initiate with our businesses never get these opportunities, but it's for everybody out there. It's just that you actually have to click the right part.
Absolutely. So without further ado,
sorry for talking a lot. Yeah.
No problem. No, I mean, this was very important for someone to talk about something that you had a first-hand experience of. So without further ado, Shahzad,
Yeah, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, on my right-hand side, we're very lucky that we have been joined by a project director at National Incubation Center. He's none other than Mr. Parvez Abbasi. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah, I'm very good. Thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you alongside Parvez Abbasi Saab. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by CEO Mocha.com. She's none other than Miss Sania Saadullah Khan. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Hello, walaikum assalam. I'm great, thank you.
How's Mocha?
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. And alongside Miss Sania, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by the CEO Mapletics, and he's none other than Mr. Osama Gilani. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for inviting us over.
And how's Mapletics going?
It's going really well, alhamdulillah.
And
That's
how
nice.
long has it been that Mapletics is actually operational and
We
functional?
started back in 2017,
Okay.
just along the time when National Incubation Center got off.
Yeah, exactly. I believe the National Incubation Center got off in 2016, but it's great. Thank you very much for joining us. Alongside Mr. Osama, ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined by one of the mentors as well. She's the co-founder of Epiphany. And I've heard the name somewhere. I don't know where, or probably I've used it quite a lot in my
I think you
sentences
have.
as well.
Yeah.
But she's none other than Miss Samar Hassan. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing really well. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you as well. But Miss Sunny, I'm going to get my conversation started with you. How do you think NIC has actually helped you fulfill your dream?
Oh, it's been great. So before joining NIC, we just had an idea and we said, okay, we think it can work.
Yep.
We got there. We have never been entrepreneurs before in our lives. So my co-founder is also my husband. And we've come from very cushy, comfortable, professional corporate backgrounds.
Wow.
Landed up at the NIC and we're like, we have this idea. Can you help us get it off the ground?
Yeah.
And they were able to. So it's been a year and a half since we actually launched. They were a big part of it with the curriculum sessions they had, the access to networking, and also just being able to talk to other startups at different tables. And some of the people that we've even hired to date in our team have been in other teams or were recommended from other people as well.
Well, that's great.
So-
And since you're here, so we would definitely want you to let us know a little about Mocha as well.
Sure. So Mocha Online is basically your answer to any sort of domestic emergency you might have. What we like to call ourselves is that it is on-demand domestic services at the tap of a button. So for customers such as yourselves, if your cook, cleaner, babysitter suddenly disappears, you can just download our app and book someone for a couple of hours, and it's as easy as booking a ride.
That is
Wow.
the dream,
Oh,
to be
I
honest.
didn't knew that. I didn't
Yeah.
knew that we actually have an application of such sort where, because a lot of times, you're actually throwing a dinner and, all of a sudden your chef's like, okay, I have to go somewhere.
Right.
And you're like, okay, what to do? So thank you very much for
You're
jumping in
welcome.
and tapping into that segment of the market
Thank
where
you.
nobody's actually tapped before. What about you, Sama? Let us know about Mapletics.
Yeah, so Mapletics basically has developed a technology using which we're able to make digital replicas of object places in person.
Okay,
So
3D.
3D models. So the industries that we are using this technology for are heritage preservation and construction progress monitoring.
Wow.
So as you may know that many sites across the globe have been damaged due to disasters, lack of care and war.
Yep.
Case in point, the destruction of 2000-year-old Temple of Bel in Syria and the recent destruction of Notre Dame Cathedral in France because of the fire over there.
bro.
So similarly, we've also lost many of the heritage sites across the globe.
Yep.
So there is a huge need of preserving our cultural heritage.
Yep.
So using our technology, we're able to digitally preserve all of these sites. And
So
the
you know
greatest-
which bricks goes where.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the greatest
And
part
restore
is
that.
yes, exactly. In case of any damage, you know exactly how it looked like before, so you can then recreate it. And the greatest part is then because all of this is 3D, we allow people to go to these locations in virtual reality. So you may be sitting in France and have a tour of Makli, one of the world's largest graveyard in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And,
amazing.
and then how do you think NIC has actually helped you pursue your goal?
Yeah, so a bit similar to Sania, when we started off, me and my co-founder, we both have done masters in electrical engineering, and we didn't have much know-how about how to run a business. So we had a technology that we worked on and researched upon. We wanted to make it a commercial success, but for that we needed to learn how an efficient business runs, and also to be connected to the right people to to launch our product. So how the NIC helped us was initially that it helped us go to conferences like the one in Barcelona, where we featured in the Wall Street Journal, and the noise that it created helped us get many of the customers that we have today.
Wow.
And apart from that, NIC continuously helps us in getting connected with many of the industrial partners whom we are working now to employ our solution with.
That's just great. So, Pravesh Saab, now I think it's about time that we come on to you as well. So, obviously, it's not flattering, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard it from the people who've actually taken advantage of the services NSE is providing. But let's just focus on the event which took place last weekend. Please share a little about that.
Sure. It's basically this weekend we had the Global Tech Weekend.
Okay.
This is a global event. It happens in many cities across the world. And in collaboration with those partners, we had the event here at the National Incubation Center.
Yep.
We had, as you mentioned, about 60 participants, all women, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to report that all the judges were also women as well.
Wow.
And it climaxed on Sunday at a dinner, a networking dinner, in fact. The winners, of course, will be going on to Singapore for the finals, and they'll have an opportunity to not only pitch in front of a larger audience, a more global audience, but hopefully to be able to win more money and resources for their own selves. But more than the money, as Osama alluded to the fact that when they went to Barcelona, they met and they networked with a lot of international companies and a lot of international people there.
Exactly.
And being featured, a lot of people say, you know, photo shoot opportunities, then nothing else comes out of it. But being featured in the Wall Street Journal, for example, gives you global coverage, gives you credibility, and gives you perhaps access to potential customers as well.
No, you're absolutely right. And for growing businesses, I think it's very important to start with B2B networking sessions with a lot of people out there. Now, coming to you being a mentor, every other month we do have shows where entrepreneurs come in. We of course love promoting the talent, their ideas, their concepts, but we more, usually come around actually the conclusion that lack of facilities, lack of incubation centers, lack of capital, whatnot, are these the only things that you feel one requires to start a business or to sustain it, more importantly?
Actually, one of the concepts that we talk about a lot in entrepreneurship is bootstrapping, where you actually start off with the objective that you don't really need the money. What can you do without that critical mass of money? A lot of people, I think, hold ourselves back because we think that we need money. Like in your example, you were also saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's about taking a step back and really saying, okay, what is it that I need to do? And what are the resources which exist within my existing network that I can tap into?
All
So for
right.
instance, example, this is going to be a US example, but it's very applicable, so I'm going to give
Okay.
it. Zappos was one of the companies, which was a shoe company, and they were trying to sell it online. But when they started out, they did not know whether people would purchase shoes online because
million-dollar
obviously you have to
company now,
try them, etc. So the guy who set it up, he went to the local shoe store, took a few pictures, uploaded the pictures on a quick and dirty website, which you can probably create for less than 10,000 rupees,
Okay.
uploaded them. The minute he started receiving orders, he went to the same shoe store, bought the shoes, packaged them, shipped them, and that's it, right? So no need for inventory, no need for huge sums of money, and there you go, that's how the business started developing. So I think for a lot of us, it's not about the money. When you talk about the lack of facilities, again, there is so much help out there now. So if you talk to other business people who were starting out their businesses a few years back, it was very difficult, right?
Yes,
And
of
now
course.
there are university incubation centers, there are the government-led business incubation centers, then there are private enterprises like ours that come in and host a wide range of workshops. So the facilities and the support is also there. I think
speaking
part of
of
the
work-
problem
yeah,
is,
please.
sorry,
No problem,
part
go
of the
on.
problem is that we're not really starting to tackle problems that are faced by real people. So we sit in our comfortable rooms and we think of a problem which may be our problem only. The
Right.
first thing that you need to do is really identify, do you have a critical mass of customers that are going to use this? And don't waste any time, don't waste any money. Actually start creating problems, creating
here's the
solutions to
thing.
problems that are
Solutions,
real.
yes, absolutely. So here's the thing. When you're talking about workshops and mentoring on young entrepreneurs on what to do and what not, so this has been a question for a very long time. I do often speak about it. This is for all three of you because I know your answer. So, okay, a lot of people, especially Pakistani dads, are like, business mind hona zaruri hai, business ki degree pad lo. Does that matter? No, it's a genuine thing. People say that.
That's why I'm just
So do
laughing
you
because it's
guys,
very common.
yeah, so do you guys being entrepreneurs think so, and you being a mentor, that to discuss things, experiences, and to learn courses are absolutely important for you to have a successful business?
Are you asking me?
One by one, yes,
Okay.
let's start with you.
So I would say absolutely not. And when you say I'm not just a mentor who's mentoring, I'm actually an entrepreneur as well.
Perfect. So you have
And a
real-life
social
examples.
entrepreneur. So absolutely. So I'm practicing entrepreneurship every single day, which helps me mentor startups much, much better because a lot of the hard stuff that they're going through is stuff that we're going through or have gone through in the past.
Okay.
So,
So it
you
does
don't
not
need
matter.
a degree. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was
So
going
the
to
minute when people say, oh, I'm going to do a BBA or MBA because I want to pursue a business of my own, perhaps you need that degree if your father has a business because maybe you need that credibility.
All right.
But other than that, you don't really need a degree. What you do need is an entrepreneurial mindset.
Do you guys agree with it, both of you?
I
Yeah.
believe education is important. I mean, if in case you have to write a purchase order, you know how to write it. You know, so it's important for that aspect. But if in terms of businesses we speak, I mean, it's not really important to have a degree to do a business. But yeah, please go on.
Yeah, I agree. Like you mentioned, it's all about the education, and that is what the NIC also incorporates. So when we get inducted, incubated at the NIC, what happens is that we go through a curriculum session, and that curriculum session basically covers all of the major parts of the business running cycle that are required. Like I mentioned, in my case, I was not aware of them, and it is very important to learn about them if you want to build a sustainable business.
Exactly.
And that is where the curriculum sessions, which run about 3 to 4 months, help us in. So industry experts come in and then they let us know how to define our business models.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Well,
amazing.
that's
I
good.
agree the same. It's not about what degree you studied in university. It's all about grit and passion. And if you have that, you can go. The NIC's curriculum sessions really, really helped us. But then again, it's also just learning. So we're always reading audiobooks, anything that you can have, because you're like, that's going to help me in my business.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Exactly.
amazing.
Well, which is why I'm going to move on to Abbasi Saab over here. So now, Abbasi Saab, I was just going through a research paper and it said that within Pakistan, all of those people who've initiated their own businesses or have set up their own businesses, 80% of them tend to fail in the first or the second year. What are the reasons behind that?
I think, first of all, it's not limited to Pakistan.
Yep.
If you take the best of the best, and I'm talking about the US, Silicon Valley, for example, we have to understand that less than 1% of startups get funded, even in Silicon Valley,
Exactly.
where they have billions of dollars and decades of experience and some of the best venture capital funds. Generally speaking, the concept of failure, in my opinion, by the way, failure doesn't really exist. If you learn something from that experience, you can build on a better one. And research and statistics demonstrate that typically when it's your first startup, chances are that you will not be successful.
Okay.
Chances are that you normally need to go to at least 2 or 3 startups and gain that experience. So if you look at people who are successful today, you go back into their history, chances are you'll find they tried something else, it didn't work, then they tried something else, and then they tried something else, and then it eventually worked. It's really important to understand that education, by the way, we don't have to be extremists. I know people who, by the way, are PhD holders who are great entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I know also people who probably never really even went to school and they're great entrepreneurs.
Okay.
It's really to do with the mindset. And of course, grit, and as Sanya mentioned, is very important. Passion is very important because not every single day is going to be a good day.
That's
Some of
true.
those days, you wonder, why on earth am I doing this?
Yeah.
Your mom and dad are telling you, get a job.
They're all agreeing with you.
Yeah, the fact is, this is our culture.
Yeah.
And I think rather than focusing on the the shortages, I think we also need to focus on the abundance. And in Pakistan, we have an abundance of excuses not to do things.
True.
Log kya
A
kahenge?
lot of hard work. Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. But I would like to also make a point that finance, according to our experience, frankly, is only 20% of the success factor.
Okay.
The other 80% is non-financial.
Exactly.
Wow.
So if you look at, again, any successful startup, be it Pakistan, be it outside Pakistan, the one thing that they had in common is they didn't have money.
Yeah.
So that not having money was actually what made them successful.
Exactly.
That's absolutely
Thank you
amazing.
very much for saying that. Well, I know that you have a question, but what I wanted to ask was that, generally whenever we are asking questions or whenever we are interviewing, people are like, that this is the mindset, this is the right mindset, this is not the right mindset. So if speaking about entrepreneurship and having your own business, can you be more specific about what kind of mindset are we referring to over here?
Yeah, this is what we call a continuous learning mindset.
Okay.
When you look at the glass, it can either be half full or half empty.
Okay.
This is your own perception. And I believe that if you look at things in a positive light, I even say this, that a bad experience is better than no experience.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you
yes.
learn something from that experience.
Exactly.
People don't really want to try. They don't want to experiment. And there are cultural reasons for this as well. There are family pressures, et cetera, get a degree, get a job, get engaged, get married, get a home, and so on and so forth. This is a typical life that people want. But the fact is, most people don't necessarily get the job that they would like.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they don't study the degree that is basically what they feel passionate about. So essentially, they do a degree in IT and get a job in the HR department.
All right. So
They
first of all, I will have to congratulate you on one thing, Mr. Abbasi, that that you pulled off this conference that we had last weekend, and then all of you for being able to be a part of it. We have a report from your conference actually.
Oh,
One of
okay.
our correspondents went on and made a detailed report on it. Let's take a look at this, and when we come back, we will still be in conversation with them.
Indeed.
Ijad Labs, in collaboration with Jazz and National Incubation Center, kicked off its first ever Techstars Startup Weekend dedicated solely for women. It was a 3-day event with participants ranging from professionals, students, and aspiring entrepreneurs.
Techstar is a global accelerator program, so we're doing this a special event for women this time, and what we're doing, we're giving a platform to women to network and to share their ideas with other women, and also to build their products and convert their ideas into reality.
Corporate leaders from Jazz, Team Up, and development sector attended the event to share their insights on the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Pakistan. The winner of the marathon was All-Inclusive Cafe, with the idea of creating a space to accommodate the trans community and highlighting their contribution in a society.
We had more than 100 participants from female entrepreneurs all across Islamabad, Rawalpindi, and then we shortlisted some great ideas. The whole purpose of this event is to ensure that females have that enabling environment that they can come in and talk about their business ideas and collaborate with other people and be able to realize the value that they have as part of an ecosystem, as part of the country's economy as a whole.
Startup Weekend is indeed a unique platform to enable young women to bring their innovative ideas to the forefront and empower them to pursue their dreams in an enabling environment. Rida Shah reporting for PTV World, Islamabad.
What a fabulous initiative by NIC, and ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I'll be very honest over here. So the global population of women is more than 56% these days, and as of now. So I believe that if women actually are going to stand right next to us and start working and have their own initiatives, Pakistan will have a better economy, and the global economy is actually going to help each and everybody who's actually a member of the globe as well.
Agreed.
But thank you very much for being with us for this segment. It was wonderful to have you. So we're going to actually ask them.
Swap.
Yeah, we will actually ask them to let other people come over here as well, because they're actually going to represent NIC as well. And then we have a professor of entrepreneurship. We're actually going to ask him a little techniques about entrepreneurship, and then we have 2 more startups to share. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Good morning. Welcome back to World This Morning with Shahzad Khan and Shiza Hashmi, ladies and gentlemen, on a beautiful Friday morning where I have to remind you, on every Friday, Pakistani nation stands in solidarity with Kashmir.
Exactly.
So today we're going to do the same as well. 12 p.m. onwards, that is. Whatever you're doing, please take some time out to pray and observe silence for our Kashmiri brethren who have been going under, a lockdown for more than 40 days now. The thought of it, the idea of it is just baffling for us to understand.
Exactly.
How is it possible?
And please make sure to remember them in your Jummah prayers as well, and whenever you pray. And pray for all of us and for our entire team. But ladies and gentlemen, right before the break, we were actually in conversation with a lot of people who were working closely with the National Incubation Center. And now we're going to move on with that, where there's a bit of change with the panelists, because we definitely want everybody to have a chance to speak their heart out, as in how NIC has actually helped them to come to a point, or to reach to a point where they now have actually pursued a career or a profession by themselves, which is chosen by themselves as well, and they're successful and it's their destiny. So on my right hand side, I'm very sorry that I keep on saying right hand side as well, but it's perfectly all right. I believe you can cut that out if you can. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm very lucky that I've been actually joined by somebody who's very up and right, and yeah, he's got a very smiling face. He's been a regular on the show, and I believe that for somebody who calls himself a professor of entrepreneurship, should actually have one or two of his own businesses or her own businesses as well, which is why I believe that he's one of a very amazing guest, because he's got 4 startups to himself. He actually had 8, 4 miserably failed and 4 picked up. And this is what you want and this is what you need as well, ladies and gentlemen. He's none other than Dr. Ansar Rajput. He's an educationist himself. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And I would definitely need the same amount of energy when I'm of his age as well, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see you. It's great to have you over here. Alongside him, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually been joined by Miss Faiza Zafar, who's the CEO of Dreyfus as well. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
I'm great.
Thank you very much for joining us. Alongside Miss Faiza, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by CEO Romer Muhammad Hadi. Hello, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. And when I look at you, I feel as if, you know, I'm actually looking at the Superman from the older films as well. You kind of resemble him as well. But alongside Muhammad Hadi, ladies and gentlemen, we've got one more guest who's actually a mentor to them as well. She's none other than Ms. Shihab Farooq Niazi. She's the editor Startup Guide. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. So first things first, Faiza, we're going to get started with you. How do you think NIC helped you, and how do you think that getting entrepreneurship lessons or a curriculum kind of thing from professor as well helped you in your businesses as well?
Honest answers only.
Yep.
Back in 2018, I joined National Incubation Center, where I was serving with one of the startups as marketing executive.
Okay.
But then I realized that how important it is to start your own initiative and come up with an idea, because I've always been a person with passion to do something for my own, not so-called Jobian thing, so 9 to 5, not that sort of a person.
Okay.
So the registrations got open, and I always had an idea to serve the youth in any form possible. Okay. So back in 2019 Jan, I pitched an idea, and then it got selected among there were around 1,000 applications, and 25 were being shortlisted, and I was one of them.
Wow, that's so nice.
It was talent acquisition. It is actually, I'm working on it, a talent acquisition platform that pre-qualify the candidates based on their personality, communication, and technical skills.
Okay.
Apart from that, we do their personal and professional development, and then help them to, formulate their CVs, let them prepare them, for the interviews, as well as connect them with the employment opportunities. So that's what we do, and the target that market.
So you're tapping the service industry.
Absolutely. We are trying to acquire the best talent that is skill-based, and we are actually, figuring it out that whether they have that personality, that skill, or that trait to be utilized in a particular industry.
And do you believe that you are qualified enough to judge people on basis of their degrees?
No, so since there are lots of people on my panel, and we, though I got graduated in 2018 myself, but I believe the passion that I have for this thing, for this HR, and connecting youth and how to empower them through skill development is something that I truly believe that could, help them as well.
That's great, amazing. Muhammad Hadi, what about you?
Well, I think I'll start by saying that what's so beautiful about NIC is it acts as a platform where anybody interested in startups and entrepreneurship in Pakistan can look at that as sort of the base.
Yep.
It introduces to you all the service providers, the vendors, the mentorship, the opportunities that you're looking for.
Yep.
So I was coming from a slightly different place. I've been overseas for about 20 years after having grown up in Islamabad, and I've worked in banking for about 17 years in the US, the UK, and Dubai. And for me, there was this entrepreneurial dream where I wanted to come back to Pakistan and try something that would have an impact in people's lives and build something of my own, instead of just continuing to play golf and work in banking in Dubai for the rest of my life. So I took the harder route, and what was really helpful was having a base, a platform. And so NIC, we found, was a great place where we could start to manifest our entrepreneurial ambitions. And it's been a fantastic experience. So our startup is called Romer.
Yeah.
And Romer is a rental car app. It's in fact Pakistan's first rental car app. What we're doing is we're applying the same model as Uber and Careem to to digitize the rental car value chain. What that means is essentially that we offer people an opportunity to rent cars by the hour. The big problem in Pakistan is the lack of cars available. There are only 17 cars per 1,000 people. Now you compare that to Dubai where there's 300, or Saudi Arabia where there's 500 per 1,000 people, or the US where it's 1 for 1. So the biggest problem in Pakistan is this mobility, and it impacts people's lives, where they want to go to university, where they want to go to jobs. Ride-hailing is so successful because of that need, but it only partially addresses the problem. It takes you from point A to point B. It's effectively a taxi service. But what if you want to share ownership in a car? You can't afford to buy it yourself, but you're an urban young individual who wants to go to university, who wants to go to work. You want to go to several meetings around the city to sell your business. You want to go to your products. You want to go to shopping and go to 3-4 different markets. You want to go out with your friends. If you want to rent the car for a few hours, we give you that opportunity through Roamer.
And I've heard the similar idea as well. And so when I heard the similar idea, it was about that when people are actually going to transition to electric cars, and they'll be in their offices, so they can probably rent their car to other people. I think that's the idea.
That's actually something.
So anybody can rent their car, right?
Everybody can rent the car. We simply sign you up on the platform. Once you've downloaded the app, you register and you can start renting cars. We offer it with driver, and we are looking at actually electric vehicles as another thing to do, because we are very encouraged by the Pakistan government's new policy of trying to support electric vehicles, reduce import duties on them. And we think that that would be a phenomenal thing to help to, to create, is this electric vehicle market, and actually have them standing around in the cities when people can just pick them up. As of today, though, you can rent the cars with a driver, and it's more cost effective because you're renting by the hour. You're renting for 30 minutes, you're renting for 40 minutes, you're renting for 2 hours, and you get to go as many places as you want with no wait charges, no stop charges, no peak factor. And we think that's a great service that we can offer to the people in Pakistan. And if we can do that well, then we think we'll be adding value to the economy. That's what a startup dream is. It's not really about the money, it's about adding value.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Now moving on to you, Ms. Shahab, you being an educationist, we can say, and also a mentor over here. Do you think that these two, without the curriculum that NIC is offering, or all the workshops and whatnot, these two would have been able to pull off what they've done now?
And before you answer, why are you smiling?
Did I pronounce your name wrong?
Yes, no, you didn't. You did.
Okay.
You
That
pronounced
was
it
correct.
correctly. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I like to smile, but yeah.
That's great. We like people who smile.
Yes. So regarding the curriculum and the NICs, if we kind of take a step back before the curriculum and the NICs, entrepreneurship is more about a mindset and less about anything else, right?
Yeah.
So we have to realize that, first of all, that you have to have that personality trait in order to become a successful entrepreneur, right?
I always hear that. What does that mean?
Yeah, we will come on to that.
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm holding it
It's
back.
a very long debate, right?
Okay.
But then it's kind of, for NICs, it's kind of picking the right talent and harnessing that talent through the curriculums, through the workshops, and it's not just that. It's kind of like a community in the sense that people sit together, people talk to each other, people take trainings and classes, and the kind of people that come there, right? From the industry, from the government, from all these other different areas,
Right.
you get a lot of exposure, right? That you probably wouldn't get if you were sitting in just an ordinary co-working space, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of like also it's just that it depends on the person who wants to learn.
Yep.
If you as an entrepreneur are hungry and if you want to learn, then even spending 1 year at the NIC, I'm sure these guys will be able to tell you, it's end of the day, the amount of value that you draw from that 1 year is completely up to you.
Exactly.
So are you happy with your products over here?
I haven't mentored both of them directly,
Okay.
but I have interacted with them, and I've known them for a while. So yes,
Perfect.
of course.
Well, that's great. But now I believe that it's time that we move on to Professor Saab over here. So you're going to let us know with the bookish definition of entrepreneurship as well. But before we delve into that, now there are two questions which I have. The first one being that she's mentioned, and even earlier Pervez Abbasi Saab said that you really need to have the right mindset. So I want to know what is the right mindset for entrepreneurship first.
Okay.
The second thing is that I don't know whether you were actually answering on behalf of NIC or not, but what I wanted to ask was that if there's the right talent, as she said, as a mentor, in the capacity of mentor, she said that we pick up the right talent. and then we help them, and then they draw whatever kind of advantages they can. Now, I believe that if the talent is right, one way or the other, we do not really need NIC, it will still work. I believe that NIC should actually focus their energies on people who still are actually having trouble in formulating or coming up with a brighter idea, and then reshaping them into, okay, that, now your business model will eventually work. Because, people who have the right idea, I don't think NIC is doing anything out of the world, because of the fact that the idea is always right. If the idea is right, it will work.
Well, let me tell you frankly what's happening in Pakistan.
Yep.
It's a very bright morning of entrepreneurship in Pakistan.
Okay.
Very bright. Two things happened. It happened accidentally.
Okay.
One, we pushed for last 20 years to get a degree,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So a lot of parents spend their hard-earned money, and the good news is a lot of females got educated, and the Jahez money went to education.
Exactly.
Second thing happened, we couldn't create enough jobs for them. So massive unemployment, with educated lot, there is a bubble. And that bubble busted in the form of self-employment. And that is what, there is a theory in entrepreneurship which is called a displacement theory.
Okay.
That if you displace an individual physically or financially, individual got to do something who has this energy, and that's called self-employment.
Yep.
So it didn't happen planning. It
So
happened
what is the
accidentally.
right mindset to be an entrepreneur?
Well, really, the mindset is to be hungry for success.
Okay.
You got to have this hunger. And those, the big lot of, that's why Pakistan today is the fourth largest market of freelancers.
Okay.
Yes.
So the entrepreneur,
And it's because of unemployment, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that people are willing to be entrepreneurs. It's because of unemployment, unfortunately.
this model has also happened in many other countries. Pakistan is not the only country.
Yep.
When there is a struggle, and then you start thinking.
Yeah.
You might be a very lazy person while you're in college, but when you are pushed to society and you become entrepreneur.
Exactly.
That is my theory, and that theory works
good
in
one.
Pakistan. It's working. And as long as the results are there, you are employed.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you got there.
Exactly.
So the entrepreneurial energy is there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
People are entrepreneur because of their freelancers. The single unit, one person ventures are there.
Right.
Now, they need to be institutionalized. That energy.
Now the second part. That
Yeah,
if the idea is bright, do you
Right.
think that they need help from NIC, or it will work eventually?
If somebody survived through freelancing for 6 months and the idea is good, now there is a time when we need institutions like NIC. So I'm not here advocating NIC, but NIC has a very good, successful model. They take an entrepreneur who has started the journey, and they incubate it for a year, and then give the hand holding required.
Exactly.
So that's what NIC does. And there are maybe we need 50, 100 NICs to take that entrepreneurial energy of youth of Pakistan and put them in right channel and become one-person entrepreneurial venture into an enterprise.
All right.
And that's where we should head.
Yeah.
If I could just add to what Professor Saab said, because I think he's so right in his perspective. I think once you have that whole flock of people going into entrepreneurship, it's about probability of success as an entrepreneur, right? And so when you take these kids or individuals who are further along their careers like myself, and you say, okay, you have this idea, let's assume as a baseline it's a good one. First of all, you need some advice from people who are experts who have experience to tell you if it's a good idea or not, and how you should be thinking about it. So maybe you're going to filter out some of those ideas. And sometimes that's the best thing to do, is to actually fail quickly and understand that's not the right thing to do. But when you select an idea that works, it's about increasing the probability of success by introducing them to advice, resources, and capital. Those are what the founder needs. And so, again, just to say exactly what Professor Saab said, NIC is one platform, but for the size of Pakistan, we need hundreds of these such platforms, accelerators, where investors can come and find good investment ideas, where startups can come and tweak their idea, because 80% of the success is not based on the idea. Absolutely not. It's based upon execution.
Exactly. Thank you very much for saying that. And thank you very much for being with us. We're very sorry that we had a large panel today, and so we were only able to ask a few questions.
So I would like to just add one
Very
thing.
quickly.
So that 1 year that I had at National Incubation Center has been incredible experience. I couldn't have those 22.5 years of my life, that experience or that learning opportunity that I had in this 1 year.
And we truly believe in you as well.
That's
I
Thank
just
you.
want to add one
Yeah,
thing for
go
the
ahead,
youth
sir.
of Pakistan, that if you have idea, just do it.
Yeah, thank
Just
you very
do
much.
it.
Thank you
Just
very
do
much
it,
for
ladies
saying
and
that. And very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to share over here, I don't know whether a lot of people know about it or not, but it's a research which says that only 1% of the global population actually comes up with original ideas. The rest actually have to really replicate them, and it's all about execution. Thank you very much, Hadi, for saying that as well. So yeah, focus on knowing the entire business model. People miss out a few steps, and which is why they tend to fail. Well, failure is not bad, but fail big if you have to.
Absolutely. Write us on a Facebook page with the name of
World This Morning.
on Twitter,
World This Morning without a G.
YouTube,
Daily Motion and YouTube. It's World This Morning.
and the repeat you can catch at
5 past 11 p.m. tonight. Till the next time, look after yourself. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
Bye. Thank you very much, sir. Jazakallah. Thank you.